Okay, well, look, I'm going to be going through the assessment, showing all my working, showing things like how I'm underlining keywords in the question, showing all my working out, which is what we want you guys to be doing when you're answering questions, because it just shows us what you understand and what you don't and where your mistakes are made. So make sure you're not just writing the answers, you're also showing your working. So question 1, which of the following is the mixed fraction equivalent of 12.35? So the first thing that it's asking us for is the mixed fraction. So the first one I can cross off is C, because that's an improper fraction, one that has a higher numerator than the denominator. And a mixed fraction is where we have a whole number out the front. So that's what we're looking for. And the other three are mixed fractions, A, B, and D. So it has to be one of those. So we have 12 and 3/5. Now, straight away I know that 3/5 is equal to 60%. I can do that in my head because I'm timesing 5 by 20 to get 100, because all percentages are out of 100, and so what I do to the bottom I also do to the top, leaving me with 60 out of 100, 60%. As a decimal, 60% equals 0.6. So 12 and 3/5 actually equals 12.6. So it's not equivalent of 12.35. So I can cross off A. B, 12 and 35 over 10. Now again, straight away I know that that's not going to work, because again we've got that improper fraction there. So 35 over 10 equals 3.5. So it's 12 and 3.5, which equals 15.5. So that one is wrong. So cross that off, and that leaves us with D. Now there are a couple of ways that you can prove that 7 over 20 is equal to 0.35. The first way, and probably the easiest way, is to go the same way that we went with A, where we worked out the percentage first. So pretty easy to work out from 20, 100, so it's times it by 5. So we do the same to the top, so it turns into 35 over 100, which is 35%, which we know is 0.35. So 12 and 7 over 20 is the same as 12.35. The other way that we can do it, if it doesn't fit that neatly into a percentage, is to realise that when it's a fraction, it is the numerator divided by the denominator. So the top divided by the bottom. So we do our division, 20 into 7, doesn't go. So we've got our 7.000, because remember we're converting it into decimal. So that's always a very important tip to remember, just to point in that 0.000, because that's what 7 is as a decimal. So we put our dot at the top. Okay, and then we go 20 into 70. Well, that goes 3 times, so it's 0.3. Now we have, that's 60, so we have 10 left over. So it's 120 into 100 goes 5 times. So again, using that method, we come out with 0.35. So 12 and 7 over 20 is equivalent to 12.35. Question 2. We have to simplify 2x times 3y times 5. Now look, again, we'd probably cross off the can't be simplified, because it certainly can be. So we multiply it out. So 2x times 3y equals 6xy. And if we times that by 5, it equals 30xy. Now you'll notice that I crossed out 2. I didn't cross out 6y, 5. And that's because that's true, but it's just not simplified down as far as it can possibly go. So 6 times 5 equals 30, so C is the most correct. Question 3, the coefficient of D in the expression 5D squared plus 7DM minus 4D plus 8. So it's important to know that the coefficient is that number out the front. So we're looking for the number out of the front of D. And you can see here I've circled it. I'd encourage you to do something similar in an exam, and important to also symbolise the sign, whether it's plus or minus out the front. So that means that the coefficient is -4, so our correct answer is D. Now you'll notice at the bottom of all these questions I have written in green. Now, if my explanation and you still don't quite understand it, you can go back to the videos and go to that specific video in Frog and watch the video, which is generally about 5 minutes, and try to develop your understanding there. Moving on, question 4. The average of 5.634 and 5.638. So remember, the average is the middle. So you can add the two numbers together and then divide them by 2. That will always find you the average of two numbers. Now this one is pretty easy from the point of view that you've got 5.634 and 5.638. So the 5.63 are all common. So what we're looking for is the number between 4 and 8. So the number that sits between 4 and 8 is 6. So therefore, the correct answer is B, 5.636. Question 5, 2 to the 15 times 2 to the 5 equals. So remembering from our index notation shortcuts, we can add notations together. So that's 2 to the power of 15 times 2 to the power of 5. We simply add 15 and 5, so it equals 2 to the power of 20. Now, to prove that, I've expanded it out. So you can see it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 15 times. So 2 to the power of 15 means 2 times 2 times 2, 15 times. Then it's times 2 to the power of 5, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, and you can see if you add up all those 2's, that it adds up to 22's. So 2 to the power of 20. Question 6. The fraction 8 over 23, rounded correct to 3 decimal places, is... Okay, so again, we're remembering that in a fraction, it's the numerator divided by the denominator. So that's what we're doing with our division. So we're sticking 23 out the front, and there's 8. And again, we're looking for the decimal, so we're putting in the point, 8.0000. And look, it's asked us to round it correct to 3 decimal places. It's very important that I put 4 zeros in there, because that fourth number, what we're looking for, if that's 5 or larger, then we'll be rounding up. Okay, so 23 doesn't go into 8. Okay, so we can put our 0 and our point up the top. How many times does it go into 80? Well, that's 3 times, because 3 times 23 equals 69, and that leaves us with 11 left over. Okay, so 110, how many times does 23 go into that? Well, that's 4 times, and that's taking us to 92, leaving us 18 left over. So how many times does 23 go into 180? Well, that's 7 times. So that's 161, leaving us with 19 left over. And that's very important because that takes us to 190. How many times does 23 go into 190? Well, that's 8 times. 8 is 5 or larger, so that means we'll be rounding up, so it will be 0.348, so our correct answer is D. Question 7, given m equals 4 and d equals -5, evaluate 100 minus 3m minus 2d. So all we need to do with this is just plug in those numbers. Okay, so that means it's 100 minus 3 times 4 times, minus 2 times -5. Okay, and we can bring that one down. So that's 100 minus, we've got in our brackets 12 plus 10. Okay, so 12 plus 10 equals 22. Now remember, because we've got that minus out the front, we're multiplying the stuff inside the brackets by -1. So it comes out to equal 100 minus 22, which equals 78. Question 8, 12ab divided by 36abc equals, look, I'm going to write this as a fraction, so then I can cancel. So I'm going to stick 12ab up the top, that's the numerator. What we're dividing it by is the denominator, so that's 36abc, and then I can start cancelling. 12 goes obviously into 12 and also into 36, so I can cancel that. There's an A in the numerator and the denominator, so I can cross that off, and there's a B in the numerator and the denominator, so I can cross that off. So the number I'm being left with is 1 over 3c, so the answer for question 8 is D. Question 9, expand and simplify. 7 plus 2, brackets, 3 minus 4y, close brackets. Okay, so if we expand that out, we've got 7 plus, it's 2 times 3, which equals 6, minus, well, and then it's minus 4y times 2, so that equals minus 8y. So what we're left is with is 7 plus 6 minus 8y. So we can put the 7 plus 6 together, so it's 13 minus 8y. So our answer is D for question 9. Question 10. When 16x squared y plus 24xy is completely factorised, the answer is, okay, so we're looking for common factors. Okay, well, 8 goes into 16 and 24. Okay, both have a x and a y, so I think we can stick 8xy out the front, leaving us with 2x in the brackets plus 3. So our answer there is going to be D. Okay, question 11. So given A equals 12 and G equals minus 4, evaluate each of the following. So we've got 4 questions to do here. Okay, so we've got 3AG. So it's 3 times 12 times minus 4. So what I'm going to do is do the small parts of it first, chunk it. So I know what 3 times 4 equals, so it's 3 times minus 4, so that equals minus 12. So we've got minus 12 times 12. I know that 12 times 12 is 144, so that's going to equal minus 144. Okay, then we've got 24 over A minus G, so that's 24 over 12 plus 4, because we've got a minus and then a minus 4, so a minus times a minus is a plus, so that equals 24 over 16, which we can simplify down because both 24 and 16 are divisible by 8, so that equals 3 over 2. Question C, 5 bracket 4a plus 2g close bracket. So that's the same as saying 5 outside, and then inside the brackets 4 times 12 plus 2 times minus 4. So 4 times 12 is 48, and 2 times negative 4 is minus 8. So that's 5 times 40, so that's going to equal 200. So question D, we've got A over 2 plus G squared. So that's the same as writing 12 over 2 plus minus 4, and see I'll put that in brackets squared. So when it's a negative multiplied by a negative, we come out with a positive. So 12 over 2 is the same as 6 plus negative 4 times negative 4, which equals plus 16, which equals 22. 6 plus 16 equals 22. Question 12, which is worth 8 marks, a big one. Okay, so simplify the following. Okay, well, if A is just about putting the like terms together, because remember you can only add and subtract like terms. And so what I've done is I've circled the like terms, the m's, and I've underlined the n's. So we've got 10m plus 5n, so that equals 15m, minus 3n minus 7n. So we've got negative 3n minus negative 7n, so we've got negative 10n there. B, 15a squared over 20a. Okay, so we can cancel out our like terms, so both 15 and 20 are divisible by 5. Okay, and there's a squared up the top and an a down the bottom, so we can also cancel out one of those a's. So we've got 3a over 4. Simplifying down, 5k times 3d. Well, multiplying is always pretty easy with these, we just put them together. So 5 times 3 is 15, then we've also got a k and a d in there, so it's 15kd. D, 7x squared times 3xy equals 21, because 7 times 3 equals 21. X squared times x equals x cubed, and then we've just got a y at the end, so it equals 21x cubed y. Okay, so we've got 27d divided by minus 3cd. So 27d becomes the numerator, minus 3cd becomes the denominator. So both numbers are divisible by 3. We've got a 3 at the top and a 3 at we've got a 3 at the top, and we can divide it by 3 at the bottom. Then we've also got d's on top and d's on the bottom, so we can cancel down there. So we're being left with negative 9 over c. Okay, f minus 3m times brackets minus 2a squared close brackets. Okay, so that's minus 3 times minus 2a squared. So the negatives cancel when we multiply two of them together. So that's leaving us with 6. And then there's an a squared, and then m. Question 13, 18 marks as well. So simplify each of the algebraic fractions. So first one, pretty easy, 4c over 7 minus 3c over 7. Look, that's easy because our denominator is the same. And remember, with fractions, for you to be able to add or subtract, your denominator needs to be the same. Okay, so that one's just going to equal c over 7. Then we've got b. So we've got 3x over 4 plus 7x over 8. Now in this situation, our denominators aren't the same. Pretty simple though for us to create 4 and get it to be the same as 8. So we just multiply by 2. And we multiply by 2 over 2 because 2 divided by 2 equals 1. And if we multiply anything by 1, we're not changing it. So we won't actually change the fraction by multiplying it by 2 over 2. Okay, so 2 over 2 times 3x over 4 equals 6x over 8. Okay, so we've got 6x over 8 plus 7x over 8. So 7x plus 6x equals 13x over 8. C, 4m over 9 times 3m over 8. Okay, so this is just a matter of multiplying it out again, nice and simple. So that's 12m squared, and then over 72, because 9 times 8 equals 72. D, 5k over 8 divided by 20k over 6. Now, our trick here is to remember when we're dividing fractions is what we need to do is invert it and make it become multiplication. So again, one of our little shortcuts. Okay, so it is 5k times 6, so that equals 30k, and then we've got over 8 times 20k, so we've got 30k over 160k, which we can simplify down. Okay, we can get rid of the k's, cancel them out, and then we can also divide both by 10, so we can get it down to 3 over 16. Question E, so we've got 4x plus 3x over 5. Okay, so again, we're looking to make the denominators the same. Now you can remember 4x is, as a fraction, is 4x over 1. Okay, so we can multiply the top and the bottom both by 5. That's going to leave us with 20x over 5. If we add that to 3x over 5, we end up with 23x over 5. Question F, 8y divided by y over 4. So again, we'll look at 8y as a fraction, so that's 8y over 1. Okay, now if we multiply that out by 4 over y, because remember what we're doing is we're changing it from division. So we're inverting, flipping it upside down, and then we can multiply it out. So it's 8y times 4 over y, so that equals 32y over y. So we can cancel out the y's, which leaves us with 32. Question 14, expand and simplify. So 8 bracket m plus 5, close bracket. So you're just multiplying both sides in the brackets by 8. So that equals 8m plus 40. B, d, and then we've got brackets 3 minus 4d, close brackets. So d times 3 equals 3d, minus, we've got d times minus 4d. So that's minus 4d squared. So our answer there is 3d minus 4d squared. C, 7x, brackets 3 minus 2y, close brackets. So again, we're going to multiply both sides by 7x. So 7x times 3 equals 21x, and then 7x minus 2y equals minus 14xy. D, 4 minus bracket 3m minus 6, close brackets, which equals 4 minus 3m, and then we've got our negative 1 times negative 6. So two negatives multiplied together, it comes out as a positive, so that's plus 6. So we come out as, we can put the 4 and the 6 together, which equals 10. So our expression finishes as 10 minus 3m. Okay, so we're going to multiply and expand out the factors, the brackets. So we've got 5 multiplied by 2y plus 5 multiplied by 7. So that equals 10y plus 35. And then we've got minus 2, multiply that with 3y, so that equals minus 6y. We've got minus 2 multiplied by minus 8, so two negatives together equals plus 8. And again, you can see I've circled and underlined my like terms to help me to put them together. So 10y minus 6y equals 4y, and then 35 plus 8 equals 43. So we've got 4y plus 43. Okay, F. So 4j, brackets 2 minus 3j, close brackets, plus 5j. So if we multiply that out, that's 8j minus 12j squared plus 5j. And again, if we put our like terms together, we've got 8j plus 5j equals 13j minus 12j squared. Question 15, factorise each of the following. So we've got a, 20x minus 20. So remember, with factorising, what we're doing is it's just the opposite of expanding. Okay, so we're going to put things in brackets. So we need to find the highest common factor of both sides. In this case, again, pretty obvious. So we've got 20x minus 20. We can divide both those numbers by 20, putting 20 at the front, then bracket, so x minus 1, and then close brackets. Okay, b is 15g plus 25d. Okay, so common to both 15 and 25 is 5. Okay, so we stick 5 out the front, bracket 3g plus 5d, close brackets. So we've got c, minus 24pq minus 36. So we've got minus 12p that we can stick out the front because we've got p on both sides, and both minus 24 and minus 36 have minus 12 as a common factor. So we've got minus 12p, brackets 2q plus 3, close brackets. Okay, D, 8mn minus 4m. So we've got 4m, which is common to both, leaving us with bracket 2n minus 1, close bracket. Okay, so question 16. So we've got to simplify each of the following and make sure we're putting our answers in index notation. Okay, so 7 to the power of 10 times 7 to the power of 5, remembering our index shortcut, which we've already talked about. We can just add those indices. So 10 plus 5 equals 15, so it equals 7 to the power of 15. B, 8 to the power of 12 divided by 8 to the power of 2. So that equals 8 to the power of 10. C, 9 to the power of 0, remembering that anything that is to the power of 0 equals 1. So we can write that as 1. And if you want to write an index notation, 1 to the power of 1. D, 5 times 5 cubed times 5 to the power of 4 in brackets, and then square that. Okay, so we've got 5 to the 1 times 5 to the 4, so that equals, 5 to the 3, so that equals 5 to the 4. And then that's times 5 to the power of 8, because when we're in brackets, we can actually multiply them together. So it's 4 times 2. So we've got 5 to the power of 4 times 5 to the power of 8, which equals 5 to the power of 12. Now underneath it, we've got 2 to the power of 0, which means 1. Okay, so we can scratch that, because 1 times anything is still that same number. Then we've got 5 to the power of 4. So 5 to the power of 12 over 5 to the power of 4. So that's exactly the same as division. So we can subtract 12 and 4, leaving us with 5 to the power of 8. Question 17. Write an algebraic expression for the following. A, the product of x and 3. So that the product means multiply it out. So if we're multiplying x and 3 together, then that's going to equal 3x. Okay, B, the sum of y and 5 is doubled and m is subtracted from the result. So we've got y plus 5, and we'll put them in brackets, and we're multiplying it by 2, so we'll stick 2 out the front. So, and then we need to subtract m, so we just put a minus m in there as well, and that's going to be the expression for that question. Question 18. A, write 2 over 15 as a recurring decimal. Okay, so a recurring decimal is a decimal where you've got a number or a series of numbers that repeats. So in this case, we're going to write, because remember that 2 over 15 is the same as saying that we're going to divide by 15. So we do our division, we put 15 out the front, and we've got 2.000. Okay, so 15 doesn't go into 2 at all, so we put a 0 there and then put our decimal place. Okay, so it's now 20. Well, yes, 15 goes into 21 times, leaving 5 left over, which leaves 50. Okay, which goes in, 15 goes into 53 times, leaving us, so that's 45, leaving us with 5 left over. So we're going to keep getting 3 here, so we can put our little dot above the 3, showing that that is a recurring decimal. So it's got to be 0.133333333, and so on. Write 3 over 7 as a decimal, correct to 3 decimal places. Okay, so again we'll do our division, stick 7 out the front. Okay, and then 3.0000, and again notice that I use 4 zeros here because I'm looking for 3 decimal places. So I'm going to use that final 0 to decide whether or not I leave it as is or whether I round up, because remember, if it's 5 or above, we round up. Okay, so 7 doesn't go into 3 at all, so we'll stick our 0 in our decimal place. Okay, so we've now got, how many times does 7 go into 30? Well, that's 4 times, because that's 7 times 4 is 28, leaving us with 2. Okay, so then we've got, how many times does 7 go into 20? Well, that's 2 times. Takes up to 14, leaving us with 6 left over. Okay, so how many times does 7 go into 60? Well, 7 times 8 is 56, so that's 8 times. Okay, leaving us with 4 left over. How many times does 7 go into 40? Well, that is 5 times. Okay, so that means, well, it's 5 or above, so it's going to be, if we're taking 3 decimal places, we'll round up. So it's going to be 0.429, because we round up to the 8 because the next number was a 5. Okay, write 2.375 as a fraction in its simplified form. Okay, so we can write, obviously you stick 2 out the front, but we can write 0.375 as 375 over 1,000. Now we can simplify that down. Both of those numbers, 375 and 1,000, are divisible by 5. So 375 divided by 5 equals 75. 1,000 divided by 5 equals 200. Okay, and again, that's going to be divisible by 5. So we divide 70 by 5 and we get 15, and we divide 200 by 5 and we get 40. Okay, again, both of them are going to be divisible by 5. So divide 15 by 5, I get 3, and divide 40 by 5 and I get 8. So that's leaving us with the mixed fraction of 2 and 3 over 8. Now, if we want to stick those together and turn it into an improper fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator, we can say, well, we've got a denominator of 8, so if we keep that for the 2 is the same as 16 over 8. So it's 16 over 8 plus 3 over 8 equals 19 over 8. So that's how I'm going to leave my answer as 19 over 8. Okay, so round 54.4972 to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so when you're looking for hundredths, you're looking at after the decimal point. So the first number after the decimal point, 4, that's in the tens column. Okay, the next number after that is a 9, that's in the hundredths column. Now, I'm going to look past to the thousandths column just to see if that is 5 or larger, and it is. So that's the 7. That means we're going to round up. Okay, so the 9 rounds up to a 0, and which rounds up the 5 as well. So I'm rounding 54.4972 to 54.50. I bought a hat for $20 and sold it for $36. What was my percentage profit? So with percentage profit, what you've got to do is subtract the final price, okay, by the original price. Okay, that's giving you your profit. So in this case, we've got 36 minus 20, okay, and that's leaving us with 16. Okay, so we have 16 at the top, and then to find out the percentage profit, we're dividing that by 20. Okay, so 16 divided by 20 is going to be the same. And look, again, there's a number of ways you can do this. I could just, because this is a nice easy one, transfer it straight into a percentage by timesing 20 by 5, which gives me 100. So I've got to times the top by the bottom. So if I times 16 by 5, then I'm going to be left with 80 over 100, okay, which is the same as 80%. Or I can simplify down 16 over 20. Both of those are divisible by 4. So that equals 4 over 5. Then I'm remembering that in a fraction, I'm dividing by the denominator, so I stick that out the front. And then I've got my 4.00. How many times does 5 go into 4? It doesn't, so I put my decimal place there. How many times does 5 go into 40? Well, it goes 8 times. And then that's it. That's complete. So we can put a 0 after it. So 0.80, which is the same as 80%. So again, 2 different ways to do that. Question 19. A plumber's quote for installing a dishwasher includes $18 GST. Well, look, it's important to know in Australia that we have a 10% GST. So use the unitary method to calculate the price of the quote before GST. Okay, so we know that $18 equals 10% because GST is 10%. Now, to find the unit means 1. So we're going to be looking for 1%. So to find 1%, we divide it by 10. So $1.80 equals 1%. Now to find 100% of the price, we just multiply by 100. Okay, so $1.80 times by 100 equals $180. So that's the cost before GST is $180. Now, the next part of the question, question B, asks us for after GST. Now that's pretty easy. We've just worked out before GST, which is 180. So we have 180 plus 10% is going to equal what the full price is. So that's $180 plus $18, which equals $198. Question 20. An isosceles triangle has 2 sides that are equal, labelled with an x. The third side is labelled y plus 5. Okay, so I've just drawn it on the picture on the triangle. So there's our 2 equal sides, the 2 x's, and then we've got y plus 5 at the bottom. Write an expression for the perimeter of the triangle. Well, we've got x plus y plus 5, which equals 2x, because you can put them together, plus y plus 5. Now, if x equals 3 over 5 and y equals 4 over 7, find the perimeter of the triangle in its simplest fraction form. Okay, so here we've got 2 times 3 over 5 plus 4 over 7 plus 5. So that's the same as saying 6 over 5 plus 4 over 7 plus 5. Now if we're putting all of these fractions and making a common denominator, okay, we're going to multiply 6 over 5 by 7 over 7, which equals 42 over 35. We're going to be multiplying 4 over 7 by 5 over 5. So that's going to give us 20 over 35. And we're going to be multiplying 5 over 1 by 35 over 35. So 5 times 35 equals 175 over 35. And we just add all the numerators together, which adds up to 237 over 35, which look, I don't think can be simplified down. I think that's it. Okay, well, thank you for watching. That's it. You're through to the end. Hopefully you're able to get lots of the questions right. I look forward to chatting about the assessment with you in class. Remember, assessments are only to show us what you know and what you don't know. Please don't stress about it. Do your best. Remember the A, B, C, D, E. Accept, breathe, consider your choices, decide what you're going to do, and then execute it. Good luck.